You guys, welcome to another episode of What's Your Issue? My name is Troy McEady.
And I'm Darlene Sussman.
And we have a very special treat today. Hopefully, this is the first of many reoccurring themed episodes that we do on this podcast.
Well, this would be the second, Troy.
What was our first?
Playboy, Real Housewives.
Oh, yeah, we did a Housewives. Okay. Well, here we have another entry of a themed episode.
Whoa, yay.
Yeah. And we were also toying with the idea of like letting you guys vote for them on Patreon. So if that's something that you'd be into, let us know.
Yeah. Go off in the comments.
Yeah. But this episode has freckles. It has a shade of red hair that we can't quite pinpoint at this point. We don't really know if it's an auburn, if it's fiery. We don't really remember the root of the red, but we know it is a red.
It is ebbing and flowing, you know.
It's occasionally blonde. It's occasionally black, but at its root, it's red. We are talking about Miss Lindsay D. Lohan today.
Ooh, a topic that is near and dear to my heart.
I am so excited for this. So we read a handful of Lindsay Lohan themed articles, magazines. The first one being a Rolling Stone from 2004. The second being a Vanity Fair from 2010. And the third being her Bustle comeback interview from 2024. And we felt like these three issues were a good representation of like the overall arc of the Lindsay Lohan career, if you will.
The career that, you know, still has so much left in it. The rest is still unwritten, but thus far.
Yes, she's very much at like a crossroads, if you will. Like it kind of feels like right now she could do whatever she wants.
Yeah. So, and I will say this. I think that the Lindsay Lohan celebrity profile has always been quite a juicy one. I feel like there are many profiles in various magazines from across time and space. And there's always like some pretty good tidbits in there.
Some good tidbits, a lot of reoccurring themes, reoccurring topics. There are certain things that we were joking about before we started recording. It just feels like you can't write a Lindsay Lohan article without mentioning that we'll talk about. But I want to ask you, like, just because Lindsay herself is such a specific kind of like magazine fixture, like, what does she mean to you as far as like through like print media? Because she's a tabloid fixture, but like, let's not forget she is a fashion girl also.
Oh, she is a fashion girl. I always really liked Lindsay's fashion. So I loved seeing a magazine that, you know, that was more about her style and getting to see her in editorial pictures. I mean, she's so beautiful and she has such a, I think, unique kind of beauty. So it was always nice to see her in like really big editorial photo shoots. But her celebrity profiles were so great because you were getting the writer talking about the circumstances of like them meeting up. And, you know, there was always so much lead into what the interview was of like, she showed up late and she ordered this and she, you know, had this funny aside, like kind of just painting a full picture of her. And I was, you know, her biggest fan back in the day. So I was always going to be one to buy anything with her face on the cover. I mean, I remember the Vanity Fair from not the one we're going to be covering, but I think it's like 2006 or something. And she's blonde hair and she's recreating a Marilyn photo shoot. And like, I remember that magazine came out and I was running to the grocery store to pick it up. So I don't know. What about you?
I mean, hard agree. I just feel like in no matter what phase of her career she's in, when you read an article about her in a magazine, there's like this almost unspoken understanding that she just is so magnetic. And like every observation of her is interesting. Like you said, from her rushing into a restaurant, you know, disheveled and holding a pack of cigarettes and what she orders and what she's wearing and the sort of like franticness that surrounds her and the media frenzy and the paparazzi of it all. It's like she has this sort of allure that you can't really describe. And like I feel like it's meant different things throughout different parts of her career. But it's always been there. Like she's always been very magnetic as a person. And I guess when I think of celebrity, when I think of like a pre-influencer era, like us in like college more so, I think of celebrities who were sort of at the forefront of like magazines being our influence. Like we were buying stuff because of tabloids. So we would like watch or, you know, look at like an Us Weekly of people drunk stumbling out of a club or whatever. And we would shop based on what the pictures were in those magazines, not really so much on like Instagram. Yeah. And when I think of that, I think of Lindsay. Like I just think of her going out and changing her clothes. Sometimes 3 times or 4 times a day, she would change her outfits, and she knew what she was doing. Like she was creating an industry around her when people maybe didn't want to hire her for certain things or she was uninsurable. She was still creating this like frenzy around her.
Yeah, and she tried to parlay that into like legitimate business ventures, like her legging line and her sunless tanning line. Didn't really pan out. Like it didn't transcend her bad press. But I mean, yeah, I remember like finding pictures of Lindsay, like either in blogs or sort of like street style pictures in magazines, different outfits of hers, and I would just go to Forever 21 and try and recreate it.
Yeah. And to your earlier point too, as far as her editorial, I mean, she said it best in her own series. If she had a credit for every photo shoot she herself produced and styled and did the hair and makeup for, like Lindsay has the difference between Lindsay and other like celebutantes, if you will, is that Lindsay had a real genuine eye and love of fashion. And I think that resonates. Like I think you can just, you look at her, you look at somebody like a Nicole, their relationship to fashion feels so different than somebody like Paris, for example.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing about Lindsay is, she had a genuine interest in fashion. She also was a genuinely good actor. And that is one thing that was always brought up, like, unlike these other girls in the tabloids, this one's got talent. So, she's sarcastic and, she's actually like kind of funny sometimes. And I think that you see in so many of her profiles a sort of like the journalist very perplexed about her. Like once she starts to it becomes clear she's really ruining her career. You can sort of see the journalist trying to reconcile, like, what's going on here? Why is this happening? Like she's this mystery.
Yeah, like they can't figure out why somebody who seemingly has it all is so dead set on like squandering all of it, which is hilarious because then in the same breath, they'll write about, her childhood and her father and her mom and, how she had to unfairly grow up so fast and how her dad was like leaving, prison to come see her on her film sets as a little girl. And, it's like, I mean, I just think it's so funny the way that these old publications will take no responsibility. Like they just act like they can't fathom how is it possible that a young girl like her would spiral out of control? And it's like, it couldn't have anything to do with you guys writing about her every day and hounding her.
Well, it is interesting though, how let's look at the Bimbo Summit, how at this time, the way they talk about Lindsay as well is, they're perplexed and it that Lindsay is acting the way she is and they chalk it up, of course it's her parents, which yes, of course that is probably too large, that's her foundation. That's probably most of it. But also just looking at it as she has this talent, like we don't want to give up on her. There's still like an air of respect towards Lindsay. Whereas like with Brittany and Paris, in any sort of article profile on them, there's so much more of like dismissive, sarcastic tone. Like it feels like it goes Lindsay, then Brittany, and then Paris, who just is a joke.
No, 1000%. Because they even say, and I want to say it's in the Rolling Stone that we'll talk about, where they're like, in comparison to somebody like Britney Spears, who like you'd have to basically be an idiot 13-year-old girl to enjoy her music.
Yeah.
It's like it is very. It's like Lindsay has this like this career that an adult person can look at and be like, wow, like she's worked with Jane Fonda and Meryl Streep, and she was a Disney starlet, and Mean Girls is actually a great movie. Like it's like there's a respect there, and also I think like just the acting in general of it all just feels more respectable to a certain like age demographic or even like men than it would more so like Britney being this like pop star,
right?
You know?
Yeah, I feel like for such a long time until probably the 2010s, or maybe around like the 2010s, up until that point, it felt like everyone was kind of looking at her as like, well, she'll be like a Robert Downey Jr. Like we're holding out hope that this is a phase. She's gonna go to rehab once or twice, and then she's gonna come back and be like, sorry guys, that was crazy, and here's my big comeback role. But instead she just got too wrapped up in the tabloids, where then people like lost that respect for her and any hope that she would be, I think honestly, like aligning herself too closely with Paris and Britney is what kind of like did her in fully.
I think so too. I mean, I think they even say that in one of the ones that I think the 2010 one, the Vanity Fair, where they say, you know, why do you run around with these girls? Like, it doesn't even make any sense. Like, they don't even align with you. And it is interesting. Like, I don't know. I just think it's so funny. Like Lindsay, I was listening to, I think I told you about it. I was listening to, You Must Remember This. And she did, I think you're familiar.
Oh, yeah, a little.
But she was doing this Lolita series, and she was going through all of the classic Lolitas and like their tropes and stuff. So she talks about like Alicia Silverstone and whatever. But I was really like taken by her Drew Barrymore episode where she talked about Drew as her own Lolita, and like, you know, her party girl phase was tied to the fact that she was like this little girl that people wanted to fuck. And then finally she was old enough and she was wild, and it seemed like she was fucking everybody. And I think Lindsay kind of fell into that, where it was like, she never was seen as a good girl. She was never, she was always kind of she was the Bratz doll of the Barbies, if you will. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
So then when she got old enough, when she turned 18 and they could finally talk about her being, you know, they could finally sexualize her in the way that they really wanted to for so long. I felt like her path was chosen for her almost. Like, it was like, she's the bad girl. Her boobs are real. They're really big. She's redhead, not a blonde. She likes to drink. And, you know, I kind of think she was doomed from the start.
She was also doomed from the start, realistically, through her parents. Like, I think her mom is kind of one of the more cut and dry sort of stage moms, where, you know, she wanted to be an entertainer or something and a dancer, but that never happened for her. She put it all into her kid. And then as Lindsay starts to go out and party more, her mom wants to be a part of that. So, I mean, even just as a child, just like in a toxic household and reacting to what you've seen that gets you love from your parents. It's like, oh, my mom loves going out with me. My mom loves going to these parties. This makes her happy. Being like, so, you know, why would she not want to do that if that's something that her mom enjoys and co-signs and doesn't really back off of? And, you know, her dad was into drugs early on. You know, he was getting in trouble for coke when she was a little kid. Like, the party gene is in her. And that is something that I'm sure, like, before she was famous, she was seeing her parents, like, probably going out and partying all the time. They were New York City people. So that sort of way of life is also natural to her. Yeah,
for sure. And it was so woven into, I mean, every one of these articles mentions it's a lot about partying. And the context of it changes throughout the years. It's like, you know, she goes from being this 18-year-old that's just having fun, and why can't she just live her life? And then, of course, it turns into her being troubled, to then turning into, like, you know, her success story of overcoming it all. But, like, it was immediately woven into her public image that she's this wild child party girl. She's sexy, and, like, she's, like, nasty. Like, they don't just say it.
Yeah.
They don't say it overtly, but they do imply it, that like she's like nasty and like is no virgin. Don't even think about it. Like, she's a nasty girl who like will fuck you.
Yeah. Which, you know,
Yes.
probably not wrong. And, you know, what's so
Yeah.
bad about that? She was, I do think part of it is her being a redhead. I just think that is how
It is.
Yeah. It's literally that. But also, we kind of knew that she was dating Wilmer Valderrama like before she was even 18, which of course is a faulty, the fault in her parents for sort of allowing that and even encouraging it. But it, you know, on our 18th birthday, yeah, I'm dating a 24-year-old. Yeah, I guess it was just such a big departure from her peers that were so like virginity focused that even just the fact that she wasn't trying to put on those airs was like, okay, we'll take it and run with it.
Yeah, let's lean in. She's our bad girl, you know? It's been a long time since we've had like a true Shannon Doherty running the streets, and it was like fun. Like, I remember, I'll never forget buying that first Rolling Stone and like the cover of like her hair blowing and like it's bright red and her boobs are massive. And I'm just like, I felt that too. Like, I was like tantalized by her because she was, like you said, so different than the other girls. And it did have a little to do with her hair. There weren't any other redheads. And, you know, at that time, like, your hair color was like a huge, like, identifier. Like, it was like a weird thing.
And I also think that the way she looked as well, she was a redhead, which set her apart. But I also think of her peer group, she was the most strikingly beautiful and like old Hollywood. And like, not that Marilyn Monroe was considered the bad girl of Hollywood, but she was like, here's our sex symbol. And it's kind of like a recreation of like an old Hollywood sex symbol. But also she really acts, which of course nobody appreciated Marilyn's talent until, you know, posthumously. But it was like this redhead Marilyn Monroe who can act. She could do 2 accents in one movie.
Yeah. Everybody thought it was 2 little girls, but it was 1 little girl because her acting was so good. Should we get into the magazines?
Let's do it. So we're going to start with the Bustle article, which I don't know. I guess Bustle counts as a magazine, right? I just realized.
Yeah. No, I know. I thought about that. It's loosely a magazine. It's an internet magazine.
It's an internet. It's a theoretical magazine that floats in cyberspace.
Exactly. Yeah. In a print media dying landscape, we take what we can get.
Yes. Okay, so this this article, when did it come out actually? I don't know when it came out.
March 2024.
Okay, so this is March 2024. And this article, as you were saying, Troy, off mic, each one of these articles sort of plays into a celebrity profile trope. And this Bustle article is talking all about, you know, her comeback and everything. And this is very much the like all-American comeback story. And it's also the let's glaze over all the things that happened in the past. And it's just sort of a glowing piece that feels like was just sort of volleyed to her. Like, this was a discussion between the publicist and the writer of what's going to be talked about. And this is not a gotcha interview. This is a look how far we've come triumphant, I would say fluff piece.
It's a fluff piece. And I think that at this point, the media is as invested in this comeback as she is. It's a lucrative comeback. Like, Lindsay Lohan is big business. Whether she's insurable or not, she has always been one of those celebrities that has like an ecosystem around her of like media, right? Like, she's always being reported on. She's probably made these tabloids billions of dollars at this point. So there's an invested interest in her success. Her success story is lucrative. And I think you could say like a lot of the press that she was doing in 2024 for her like Netflix era, a lot of it felt fluffy, but it makes sense to me.
Like this article feels very set up by Netflix.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. It's like, it's so glowing of these silly movies. I mean, that alone is like a dead giveaway to me, where they're taking these cheesy, silly movies very seriously.
Very seriously. And so basically, this is also an interesting article to start with, because it goes through all the same beats as any other Lindsay profile, but it's so far into the future from, you know, when she was relevant and actually doing these, you know, tabloidy things, that it's all sort of glossing over it and putting a sort of sheen of hindsight that, if, you know, you're one of the real ones, you can look at and instantly remember, like, that's not true, or that there's more to it than that. So it's interesting to start here and then kind of go into the more in-depth, juicy articles to sort of break it down, what was really going on.
Yeah, and I would also honestly imagine that from her perspective, or from the perspective of the people on her team, they watched this work for Paris Hilton.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, well, if it can work for her, it can damn sure work for Lindsay. You know what I mean? This sort of rewriting of history and softening of all the edges. And, you know, it's like, let's just kind of pull back on some of that other stuff and then lean forward on this stuff. And the younger kids won't know any difference.
Nope. They'll just be like, oh my God, yeah, the girl from Mean Girls, that movie that my mom always shows me.
Yeah, exactly. She dated a girl? That's crazy. I had no idea.
Of course, that is not touched on in this article. There is no lesbianism to be found.
There is. I thought that this quote at the beginning was like a really great kind of representation of her life at this moment. So it says, Lohan's appearance, her first in at least a decade, would be one of the Oscars' biggest headlines. It's giving reclaiming my throne. Read a much liked comment on Vanity Fair's Instagram of Lindsay in the Mark Salinger studio. Stayed in shimmering on the red carpet in a silver sequin fringe Balenciaga gown, smiling into the flash of the patio, graciously receiving a whispered something from Kim Kardashian. It was as if she had never stopped acting. Moved to Dubai, exited the public life, or like looking at the result of a wishful AI prompt. Quote, Lindsay Lohan, healthy, happy, all grown up. That's what it feels like, an AI prompt, this whole sort of thing.
Well, even how they gloss over the Dubai of it all, of like,
oh my God,
this isn't weird. She... like they say, from the outside, disappearing to Dubai looked like a strategic choice, a place with lucrative business opportunities, a ban on paparazzi, and strict regulations on the substances Lohan struggled with at the height of her fame. But to hear it from Lohan, she stopped working and expatriated in search of the most essential human experience. Quote, I was like, what if I never fall in love? What if this never happens? And it took me just taking time for me, for all those doors to open and the yeses to come, the things I wanted to say yes to.
As if this very publication wasn't making fun of her weird Dubai accent or writing about her trying to kidnap that little boy. Like, there's so much shit that they just gloss over. And the Dubai of it all is so glaringly
It feels
weird.
Like this article was brought to you by Netflix and the Dubai Tourism Board. It's like whoever was in charge of the Real Housewives of Dubai.
Oh, that's hilarious.
It's like, yeah, this is just a great place to go for young starlets. The business opportunities, no paparazzi, and no alcohol. We love all of these restrictions. They're for your own good.
Her Dubai, the Dubai of it all when it comes to Lindsay, first of all, the Dubai of it all when it comes to any celebrity is fascinating. Like, it's fascinating for Aubrey O'Day. It's fascinating for anybody. But with Lindsay, it's so interesting because it's like, she's the one celebrity that pretty much everybody knows went there to do sex work, allegedly. And like it's such a common thing. Like even people who don't like read blind items and shit know that.
Yeah.
So for them to try and make it seem like she moved there just to have a little break and a getaway is hilarious.
But then her being like, no, it wasn't that. I came here to find love. Like, this is the Sex in the City movie. And Carrie's like, I haven't heard someone say that in a very long time. Like, never, because nobody moves to Dubai to find love.
I'm in love, all dressed up in love. No, it's really silly. And I will also say another thing that I love about this whole piece is that it's Lindsay. This is why I love the study of a fashion it girl, because you will always have that in your back pocket. It doesn't matter, no matter where Lindsay has been in her career, no matter how low, no matter how uninsurable, no matter how toxic, she has always had the fashion thing in her back pocket, and she's used it to survive for a very long time. And this is another great example of like the editorial, Lindsay Lohan, who also just has kind of been moonlighting as a model her whole life.
Well, but what's also so weird about this article is then speaking of fashion is it says, today she tells me she carefully curates what she is exposed to. Oh, okay.
Oh, God.
Online, she avoids fashion. Quote, my stuff is positive manifestations and baby foods. Okay. First of all, I want to know, like, you carefully curate what you're exposed to. I don't love the implications of that. I don't necessarily trust that as just like at face value, that's all I'll say about that.
For a girl with the kind of shopping addiction that this young lady has had her whole life, her obsession with fashion, you could not pay me a suitcase of money to believe that she's not like she's curating her algorithm to only be baby food. Girl.
And at first when I read that, I was kind of bummed by it. Like, oh, she loves fashion. She's like not interested in that anymore. Like, is that really what she wants? But then I thought, girl is a hoarder of clothing. And maybe that is kind of like she's put herself into hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt, largely due to clothes. So in that way, it's like, okay, maybe this is her really taking accountability for things, or maybe it's bullshit, or I don't know. It seems fishy.
It is quite fishy.
Also, my stuff is positive manifestations and baby foods. Like, what?
Yeah, like it does kind of feel like they said written by AI. It feels like it's like, yeah, mention the baby, like the public is gonna love that. Speaking of, I thought this was also interesting. She says, well, they say, motherhood has changed Lohan in ways that no abundance of older sister energy could have prepared her for. Like how proud she is of her body and how little pressure she feels to, quote, snap back. Everyone's getting so thin now. I feel like everything always comes full circle again. So this is that moment, and this too shall pass. But it does seem like there's pressure, she says, referring to the Ozempic era. Yet Lohan, whose own struggle with body image became nearly emblematic of the early 2000s size zero obsession, she said, is gladly observing this moment from the sidelines. She said, I was so attached to Luai that my last thought was going on a treadmill. I feel like we put so much pressure on ourselves to look good so soon, but you look so beautiful postpartum. Give yourself time. Again, a complete gloss over of the fact that Lindsay became not just like, yeah, she was emblematic, but that doesn't even cut it.
No, it's that whole part of the article was like, I don't know, just really hammering it home. Like, don't worry, she's a mother now. But it's like, this doesn't even sound like Lindsay Lohan. Right. And also, why would I care? Like, of all the things we're coming here to find out, not a one of them is, oh, well, how's the baby weight thing happening? But it is just sort of trying to just address, like, don't worry, no eating disorders over here. She's got it all together.
Yeah. It's just sort of sweeping everything under the rug. And I guess, I don't know, if I'm playing devil's advocate, like if I'm thinking about, like if I'm her and I'm like having this article come out, it's like, I do kind of understand that for somebody who's kind of been written about pretty much the same way since she was introduced, like
Yeah.
as a teenager, you know, it does feel like an appropriate time to start like leaving those narratives behind. Like we don't have to always get into like her stealing and like all of her
No.
DUIs or whatever. Like I get them not like making that the focal point, but it's just like it's a weird rewriting of history, I guess.
It also it's a rewriting of history that kind of, to me, like the reason why I'm not particularly excited about Lindsay Lohan's comeback, and I say this as someone who was her truly biggest fan. I'm not that excited about it because all I see is sort of just a very like PR constructed version of Lindsay, where there is also kind of still no accountability. Like that's the thing that I always saw in Lindsay, no matter how many times she tried to, you know, claim that this rehab stint had really like taken hold, like it finally worked this time. I would always see in her interviews this air of not quite taking accountability, or like the Oprah documentary, like, you know, she brings up like her old habits, but she doesn't actually take full accountability. There's always, I don't know, there's not like a really self-aware way she talks about it. And I thought in this article as well, we still had that, where instead of her, like, of course we don't have to make it the focal point of the article, but I would love some sort of just candid, yeah, that was a crazy time. And like, I don't know, just being matter of fact about it and having a bit of, not a sense of humor, but just a self-awareness. And in this, it says, Lohan's work was probably more punishing than her partying, though the latter was much more interesting to the press. Quote, I feel like some of my work got overshadowed by paparazzi and all that kind of stuff when I was younger, and that's kind of annoying. I wish that part didn't happen, Lohan says. I feel like that kind of took on a life of its own. So that's why I wanted to disappear. I was like, unless there's no story here, they're not going to focus on just my work. And I'm like, I'm sorry, that's complete bullshit.
Yeah.
That is like hilariously rewriting how things, it's like, sure, the paparazzi and tabloids and all of that were difficult and focused on her, for sure. It didn't help anything. But she also stoked those flames, and her work was overshadowed by her partying because she was doing the partying. Like it wasn't, she's basic. It feels like it's saying the partying was blown out of proportion.
Mm-hmm.
And actually it was her work schedule that was creating so much stress, not that she had a demanding schedule and she was partying till 3 a.m. every single night and like not showing up to work.
Well, the addiction to the paparazzi is always.
Yeah.
I have yet to read an article or watch a documentary where they really get into that, into like the child star, like addiction to negative press pipeline.
Mm-hmm.
And that it's not just something that's always happening to them. It's something that they participate in and stoke and throw gasoline on at times. And then, you know, of course, there are times when it turns and becomes really violent and scary and negative. But like Lindsay Lohan spent an absurd amount of time playing games with these people, calling them to chase her around.
Yeah.
You know, purposely, you know, calling them and telling them bad stuff about her friends and them doing the same thing to her. It was definitely like a push and pull. And it sucks because I think that would be really interesting to talk about now that we're so far removed from that kind of world. Like, it's like, what's the harm in being honest about that now? Because we all know it and it's interesting and it would be fascinating to talk about, you know?
Well, yeah. And I think what I really don't like about this article is it is just an encapsulation of what I don't like about most of the conversation that centers around re-examining women from the early 2000s. It's all very black and white, and it's just like a yes, queen, like hashtag feminism appraisal of it, and not a more nuanced awareness of like, yes, did the paparazzi and all of that make things harder for them? Sure. But let's also be honest that they were participants in this. And like you said, what that is about the sort of what happens to child stars of this desperate need for attention. It's like, yeah, that's a really interesting, nuanced thing to talk about. But instead, it just has to be these girls were flat out abused across the board and they actually did nothing wrong ever. Or these are like dumb sluts. It's like we can have a story that actually is somewhere in between, but I think maybe like most people are just not interested in telling that story or something. They just want to be a part of the like clickbait, yes, queen, she's back.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's the yes queen of it all. It's the like, it's easier for us to just, and it's I just also think it's easier to digest that way. Like the way that you and I look at it is a little too complicated, I think. And I think it's just nice to digest it like this. It's just nice for people, like, especially for somebody that people want to succeed. Like, you know, and that's why I said, like, this is just as much for, like, it's beneficial just as much for like a media company as much as it is for Lindsay to like have this story play out this way, where it's just really nice to click on it and read an article about her making it. And, you know, she actually did the thing. And now on top of it, she has a baby and she's married and she doesn't get hounded anymore. And she's beautiful again.
Yeah.
And she's a perfect weight and her hair is red. It's just like tied up in a way that's nice for people to digest that don't want to get too deep into the mud.
What's so funny to me too, of how they are just tying everything up, hitting every single point. They even somehow hit the point of Marilyn Monroe and Lindsay. This to me was my favorite thing of all. It's the end of the article, and and the interviewer asks or says, "Suddenly, I can't remember. Is Lohan also a super fan?" Well, they're talking about Anne Margaret and like Lindsay's interest in like playing her, and which I do know that she has always like had an interest in Anne Margaret. But she says, "Suddenly I can't remember. Is Lohan also a super fan of Marilyn Monroe, or did people just love dressing her up as an icon of tragic beauty?" And Lindsay says, quote, "I know. I think that. I love Marilyn, but I'm more Anne Margaret."
Girl.
I mean, what are we? We are trying to rewrite history that actually she wasn't a super fan of Marilyn Monroe, and it was just people dressing her up as an icon of tragic beauty unfairly.
That part made me laugh literally out loud. I actually belly laughed.
And meanwhile, both of the other articles we will be discussing talk about Lindsay and her love of Marilyn. Another one, Cosmo Girl, which we're not discussing in this one, but a Cosmo Girl profile. She says literally her three influences in acting is Julia Roberts, Audrey Hepburn, and Marilyn Monroe. No mention of Anne Margaret.
Well, if you're a Lindsay Lohan fan, it's like, you know the Marilyn Monroe thing runs deep. I mean, she has been parading around as Marilyn Monroe for years. I mean, to the point that like even her play, everything that she's done in her career has been some sort of like one step closer to Marilyn Monroe thing. So like that was hilarious.
And it's like, do you think we all just forgot about the fact that her legging and handbag line, what like 6'1", it's mentioned in the Vanity Fair. Let me see. 6126 was her line. That is the birthday of Marilyn Monroe. Bustle, did you think we just forgot about that, madam?
I guess they just think that it's all like 20-year-olds that are going to read it that just don't have the content.
And just have no clue. Oh, and she also has, we see in the Vanity Fair article, it's mentioned, she has a tattoo. It is a Marilyn Monroe quote, which is, "Stars, all we ask for is our right to twinkle." That's a tough one. That's tough.
Ooh, that is a tough one. I bet it's in like Comic Sans.
I wonder if she still has that tattoo.
I'm sure. And I love that, like, when you look at Lindsay's relationship to Marilyn Monroe, it's not even just that she's like a fan in the way that like Mariah Carey is. Lindsay has gone that next step further where she has literally like been at the forefront of so many photo shoots where she styles herself in the image of Marilyn Monroe. Like it's like actually comical.
Yes.
But you made some really interesting points that make me want to immediately jump over to the Vanity Fair.
Oh my God. Yeah. The Vanity Fair. And thank you for saying I was making some good points. I appreciate that.
Well, because you talked about sort of not believing her. And one thing that I was going to say, but then I was like, I should save it for when we get into Vanity Fair because they do it so well, is like even in Lindsay Lohan, when she's written about, even if she herself, or even like in the Oprah doc, even if Lindsay herself is not taking accountability, which she never does, me and my friend Zach call it the Lindsay Lohan mist. And it's when she'll start saying stuff like, you know, I just want to be an actor. I just want to act. I just want to be on set. I'm happier on set. I'm lighting my candles. I've been working out more. I'm doing yoga. Mm-hmm. I'm separating myself from negative people. I'm, you know, the Lindsay things, like the things that Lindsay says, the jargon that she spews. At least back in the day, the person writing about her or filming her was wise enough to say, yeah, I don't know if this is true. I don't know if I believe what she's saying. Like, yes. Oprah didn't believe her. So she made it clear on OWN that she didn't believe that Lindsay was lighting the candles and doing the things and separating herself and removing negative influences and all that bullshit. And the person who this is Nancy Joe.
This is a Nancy Joe sales joint, mama. And this is a good one too. Like, this is truly
one of the best
journalism with a capital J.
The comparison of this and that Bustle article, like, this is literally art.
Yes.
It is. This is such a good article.
They don't make them like this anymore.
No, this is an old school. So I guess just to paint an idea, this is 2010. Lindsay, during the time of this article, is, I would say, at the height of negative Lindsay Lohan press.
Oh,
this is
yeah.
like,
well, it's a week before she goes to jail is when they sit down with each other.
This is like Lindsay bad girls do it well. Mm-hmm. This is it.
Oh, yeah.
She is uninsurable. I mean, people are openly talking about her being toxic. Nobody wants their name associated with her. And, you know, it's like she's this beautiful tragedy kind of figure.
Yeah, she's called Hollywood Kryptonite in this article by an executive. Or no, by a publicist.
And I love that they're like, and through it all, you can still see her classic American beauty. Like, they're really hammering the, you know, again, another, you know, American celebrity trope of like the fallen star, you know, the broken star, the, you know, this is her like Elizabeth Sparkle era. Like, she's washed up, she's a has-been, and so sad because she's so young and beautiful, but nobody will ever want to work with her again.
Yeah, it's crazy because there's one quote where she says, "I'm not getting any younger," she said, flashing her luminous, wide-set green eyes. She had turned 24 on July 2nd. Quote, "I want my career back," she said. "I want the respect that I had when I was doing great movies. And if that takes not going out to a club at night, then so be it. It's not fun anyway. I don't care. It's the same thing every time." And then it says, "The question everyone was asking, though, was whether it was too late for Lindsay." And it's crazy that we're talking about a 24-year-old.
Right. Crazy that we're talking about a 24-year-old, and also so insane to hear her quotes sort of like, it's like she looked through a thesaurus and found like different words to put in there. But I mean, this is the same thing she told Oprah. She's literally said, quote, "There's nothing I can do there's nothing at a club for me anymore. I've seen it all. There's nothing there. And there's nothing that I can go to a club and do that I haven't done. There's no celebrity left for me to meet."
And you know what that says to me? That feels like something that every person who has tried to help her, to try to get her to stop, has been like, "Lindsay, what more is there for you to do? You've seen it all. You've done it all. Like, just stay in, move on with your life and be productive." And it's like, well, that's addiction for you, baby. It doesn't make sense.
No, it's so true. There's a lot of great quotes in this one. I love this one where they say, like Dara said, this is right before, like literally right before she goes to jail. And they say the jail time had come as a shock to her. She said, I was just thrown. She said in her distinctive, sexy, smoky voice, a voice that could belong only to Lindsay Lohan, American actress and international tabloid obsession. I was under the assumption that it was going to be a progress report type hearing, she said. I had no idea that it was going to be anything like a trial, but somehow everyone else did. For weeks before her July 6th hearing, speculation was running high that Lindsay was going to be sent to jail. Her altercation with a waitress days before I met her had made headlines. The prospect of her incarceration had created a media frenzy. Even President Obama, being quizzed by the ladies of The View a week after Lindsay started her jail term on July 20th, admitted he was aware of her predicament. Like, at this moment, it's the only thing that we're talking about is Lindsay being a train wreck and how fun it is.
Yeah. And my gosh, did we participate in it? Absolutely. And I guess that makes us one of the bad ones. But it was, I don't know, at the end of the day, it was like a soap opera playing out in real life. Like, I don't know. We all got into Scandival. That it was like, can you believe this actually happened out there? And it's real. It's like we were getting that, but with our biggest celebrities. We could check a blog every single day and there would be like, oh my, I remember vividly waking up and seeing like Perez Hilton talking about how Lindsay had been like in a car chasing the mother of her ex-assistant.
And then she gets out of the car and takes no accountability for wrecking the car. Immediately, she's like, it wasn't my fault. Somebody else did it. They're like
what? Well, and they discuss, so her first arrest, it's from that incident. And she kind of like stole the car also. She bizarrely commandeered a car with 3 young men in it in order to chase Michelle Peck, the mother of her ex-assistant, along several freeways and streets in Santa Monica. Quote, she tried to blame it on 2 different people. And then when a white substance was found on her pants, she said, these are not my pants. And then someone said they were her favorite pants, which is what the judge in her trial said to Lindsay.
It's like, she's just somebody who was learned from a very young age. It's like in her nature to just deflect immediately the minute you cast any sort of judgment on her or try and hold her accountable for anything. Immediate deflection. It wasn't me. They're not my jeans. It's not my car. They're all out to get me. I just want to act. I just want to be on set. It's where I'm happiest, etc.
Well, and it's so interesting because you can also see in all of these articles where she gets it from. She gets it from her parents, who are as much a part of her sort of Hollywood lore and tabloid stories as she is from the very beginning. I think it's in the Rolling Stone article where she talks about her father and like what a mess he is, and it's like, it's not his fault. Blah blah blah. Like there's always she's always making excuses for her mom and her father. Eventually, she stops making excuses for her father, but making excuses for both of these people as to why like they're unfairly, being judged for being bad parents. It's like, this is what she was raised on. Deflect.
Yeah. And that like that's how she was being media trained by her mom, to like really like at a young age, like allowing her daughter to believe that she has no responsibility for anything bad that happens in her life. And, just creating a little monster.
Yeah, I think it's in this. In this article, so Nancy Jo interviews a bunch of Lindsay's friends, trying to sort of piece together who this enigma really is. And one of her friends says, I think the root of the problem was every single person telling her how amazing she is, kissing her ass all the time. It was like, if everyone thinks I'm the shit, then I must be. Or there was also another quote in here somewhere where they say like Dina like let her get away with everything. She could just have a tantrum and it would be fine. Dina would do whatever she said. So yeah, it was just, you get what you want and you don't have to take responsibility.
And also just to, I guess, give kind of like a reminder of how she was being spoken about as like an insurable actor and like what she had been doing up to this point. So it says Morgan Creek CEO James G. Robinson was less forgiving of Lindsay. During the shoot for Georgia Rule, a box office and critical disaster, he infamously sent Lindsay a letter accusing her of acting like a spoiled child. Hello. On set. We are all aware that your ongoing all-night heavy partying is the real reason for your so-called exhaustion, Robinson wrote, warning Lindsay that she would be held personally accountable for losses caused by her actions. Resulting in like hundreds of thousands of dollars in damage. I think I had read that it was like a $52 million production she had halted for 3 straight days.
$50 million production. Like that must have been...
With Jane Fonda?
3 days? Shutting down for 3 days costs you money.
Oh my God. And then you're being photographed?
Ooh.
While you're not at work?
No.
They said the whole situation was just ridiculous, Lindsay told me. It could have just been a private letter or a private sit down. It ruined the sales to the box office. Why would you ever harm your own film like that? But more than anything, it seemed to harm Lindsay, whose professional reputation was already in tatters. That same year, in 2007, the problems of her post-DUI rehab schedule were reportedly caused producers to pull the plug on Poor Things, a crime comedy set to co-star her and Shirley MacLaine and Olympia Dukakis. Like, hello. And then in April of this year, Lindsay was fired from The Other Side, a fantasy adventure starring Woody Harrelson. When financiers reportedly became worried about her continued bankability. And then I love this part. This is so Lindsay. It says in 2007, her horror flick I Know Who Killed Me won 8 Golden Razzies. Her 2009 comedy Labor Pains went straight to DVD. And then Robert Rodriguez, the director and producer of the action thriller Machete, in theaters this month, in which Lindsay has a cameo as a pistol-packing politician's daughter, did not return our calls about her. The word in Hollywood is that she's uninsurable. And Lindsay said, that's not true. She said, I just did Machete and everything was fine. Like, girl. And when you hear about the stuff that she was supposed to do, it's quite painful.
I mean, well, and then they don't know that this happens yet when this is written, but they do bring up the Linda Lovelace, which that was like, oh God, I feel like that was being she was talking about that for such a long time. And in the same paragraph, it talks about how, the rumors of her splitting up Amanda Seyfried and Dominic, whatever his name is, from Mamma Mia. And in the end, the movie does get made and Amanda Seyfried plays it. Not that was exactly a movie that one would be dying to actually end up being in. It wasn't a great movie, but that was her champion.
It was a terrible movie, but it speaks to the fact that like that was a passion project for her. And given how much money she had made box office wise, she should have been at a point in her career where she could say, guess what? I want to make this movie. I'll even pay for it. I want this director. And it could have been really cool. And it's like she fucked herself, by turning herself into this like uninsurable, unreliable person. Like that sucks. And it's also the start of this long, I think Lovelace is the first of many projects where Lindsay's just like, I'm in this movie. And she's like, not.
Oh my, well, yeah, they say that she went to Cannes to promote her movie that is not made or like who knows how in development it even is, and it's for Loveless, and it's like, oh God, can you imagine her at the parties just going up to people and being like, yeah, so I'm in this movie. And
I mean, to the point that she even did that interview magazine as Linda Lovelace. Like
my God, yes, you're right. Oh God,
she chose the wig and she styled the photo shoot, and she was like, I'm gonna do it as my character. And it's like the movie wasn't even, it's just so like, it's like embarrassing.
Yeah, she was always doing that with with Stevie Nicks. That was another big one. She was gonna play Stevie Nicks, And Stevie Nicks was like, no, she is not.
Like, she needs to have overcome the cocaine addiction to play me, not be at the height of it.
Oh man, I wonder if Stevie Nicks being like, okay, Lindsay, you can play me, if that is what would get her to like come back down to earth and be like, yeah, this is who I really am. And like, I'm an actress and I'm going to be candid and like more myself. Like if just like that sort of dangling in front of her. Cause it's also like, Lindsay, you've always wanted to play this, but will you play a cokehead on screen?
Yeah. Like a real one.
Are you going to do it? I don't know. Where do you, I was going to say, could she even play, like, would her acting be at the level that it would need to be to like be Stevie Nicks in a biopic that she would grant? Because like, you know, everybody's wanted to make a Stevie biopic or a Fleetwood Mac biopic, but you know, she has the control over that. And I'm like, could Lindsay even do it? Like, I mean,
I don't think so.
I don't think so
I will
either.
say, I think that, you know, Lovelace ended up taking a really completely different turn than what it was originally supposed to be. And like the Amanda Seyfried version is like really bad. I think that really was meant to be something big in her life. I really do. Like the Stevie thing, I think was like, okay, Lindsay, but Lovelace, I'm like, no, she would have killed that role.
Yeah.
Like playing a 70s porn star that's like been battered and abused by this industry. She would have killed it.
Now, again, could she do it? And would she probably wouldn't want to, because they would not let her back into Dubai. But a sort of, you know, Pam Anderson, or I guess more Pam Anderson, or like The Substance, where it's like, yeah, she is getting her big role, her big comeback role, where she is like playing someone who is chewed up and spit out by the entertainment industry, and like have it be written, directed by a really cool woman, and just have it be like, oh, like the aesthetics of 70s porn star world.
Yes. Dara.
Ooh.
Yes. Fucking yes. Especially for somebody who just gets it. Like Lindsay has such an artistic eye, and like, I think she would really know what that movie would need and the look. I mean, even just like, I know we're making fun of it, but like her ideas even for the look of Lovelace and like, you know, the way she styled herself for that Interview magazine photo shoot. Yeah. Like it's so noir and dark, and it like the photos are so emotional, just the pictures themselves. And that's all her, you know?
Oh my God. Oh, I would want it. I need it.
I know.
We'll never get it.
I would pay money. No. Oh, there's another little article from here that I thought was interesting. It says, back in LA in June, Lindsay was seen out again at Voyeur Soho House in her old haunt, the Chateau Marmont, where quixotically she lived from 2005 to 2006. On the night of June 6th, at a party thrown by Katy Perry at La Palms after the MTV Movie Awards, her scram bracelet reportedly started going off, flashing through her boot. The next day, Judge Revel issued another warrant for her arrest, which Lindsay avoided by posting 10% of an additional $200,000 bail. She denied that she'd been drinking, insisting that the monitoring device had malfunctioned. I even said to my attorney, "Can I take a lie detector test?" She told me. I think that I went through a really rocky patch, Lindsay said, as we sat talking. But I can say for myself that I've looked back on my past and I'm completely different now. Everything happens for a reason, so I'm grateful that I can learn young. I wanted to believe her. Oh, this is to tie to what you were saying from the previous article. I wanted to believe her, but this sounded a lot like the kind of thing that Lindsay has been saying for years. I'm a different person now, she said in an interview in 2008. I have goals and I'm working to achieve them. I've made some dreadful mistakes, but learned from them the hard way. She said that in February of this year. Meanwhile, the public album of Lindsay Lohan's photos has continued to portray a powerful portrait of a girl gone very wild. There is Lindsay clad in a hot pink bikini and her first scram bracelet. Lindsay passed out in an SUV being driven by a grim-faced Samantha Ronson. Lindsay looking out of it, dancing on a banquet at a Coachella music festival. Lindsay leaving a nightclub, falling into some cactus. She claimed that a paparazzi tripped her. But it's true. Like, if you've been following her long enough, you kind of know the Lindsay fine print.
Yeah, 100%. Ugh. I do love, I'll take a lie detector.
It malfunctioned through my boot.
Does that not paint such a beautiful picture, though? Just like being at Las Palmas, being at a club, and just through a boot, you see Lindsay's scram bracelet going off. Like, that is a moment that I would kill to be a part of.
I can hear the gasp. Okay, you know when she got hit by that little boy's mom in Dubai?
Yes.
And she went, oh, like she let out the Lindsay squeal. She squealed when her boot started flashing.
Absolutely.
She for sure squealed.
Oh my God. Oh, I do love this part of this little line in the article. They're saying, you know, she's Hollywood kryptonite, blah, blah, blah. No one wants their name mentioned in the same breath as hers. And Nancy says, but I still didn't feel like I really got to know Lindsay. I feel like the reporter at the end of Citizen Kane. Was Lindsay just another child star tragedy? A girl who was supposed to be Jodie Foster, but went the way of, God forbid, Corey Haim? Was there anybody to blame for the trouble she was in except herself? Was she just spoiled or badly in need of help? I mean, that is, I think, sort of encapsulates everything.
Yeah, I had that highlighted too.
And leave it to Nancy Jo to just pointedly ask the question. I love the line, I felt like the reporter at the end of Citizen Kane.
So it's so Nancy Jo.
So Nancy Jo. Nancy, I love you.
There's a part, I don't know if you have it highlighted, I can't find it, but there's a part in this article where they kind of are talking about just like the level of toxicity that Lindsay carries with her. And they describe where she was like at a restaurant and she like sat with these people, these like film people.
Oh, yes. Here it is. I found it. A successful young producer said that he was having dinner recently at the Chateau Marmont, along with a famous writer and an Oscar-winning director, when Lindsay appeared out of nowhere and plopped down in an empty chair at their table. Quote, she was networking, he said. It seemed like an act of desperation. None of us knew her.
Like, that's so sad. I hate that.
I hate that. But also, you know what it reminded me of is in the Bustle article, they're talking about how, you know, she's friends with Ayesha Curry, and Steph and Ayesha are Lindsay's son's godparents. And then it says, they get a quote from Ayesha. Well, we were out visiting in Dubai last summer and we went to dinner and she leaned over and was like, I have something to ask you. Then she asked if they wanted to be her kids' godparents. She goes, then she asked, and it was so sweet. It was very unexpected, but we were definitely up for the task. All I need to know about what that was like, it was very unexpected.
Yeah.
Like, to me, it's sort of like, yeah, Lindsay's just plopping down and being like, so will you guys be godparents? And they're like, sure.
Ooh, yeah, I know. Like the like social unawareness that she has sometimes is like so funny.
Well, and the social unawareness, and also like at the end of the day, it's Steph Curry, very relevant man, to be able to say, yes, Steph Curry is the godfather to my child. Like, oh, that suddenly makes her seem more relevant or like enmeshed in, you know, very respectable people than she maybe totally is. Like, of course, yeah, they went to Dubai and had dinner with her, but were they visiting just her, or were they just going on a trip to Dubai and it was like, let's all get dinner? Yeah.
It's very Lindsay to be like, my dear friends, Ayesha and Steph. Like, it's so, it's very like, look how connected I still am to the A-list world.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's just so funny. And I just selfishly wanted to read this because we can't finish out this article and not read it. It's just so iconic. It says in 2008, when Lindsay began dating DJ Samantha Ronson, it seemed briefly as if she were calming down. The relationship seemed to have a stabilizing influence on her, but it ended in chaos with Ronson's with Ronson's family reportedly inquiring about taking out a restraining order on Lindsay, tweeting "Love Lauren laments." Quote, "I took the biggest chance of my life with you, and you've done nothing but break my heart," she tweeted Ronson last October. In April, Lindsay reportedly threw a glass at Ronson at a nightclub. They have since reconciled, with Ronson visiting her in jail, of course.
Oh.
Like, fucking Lindsay.
Her on Twitter, that was a really exciting time.
It was great. We didn't know what we had. People like to reminisce about Rihanna on Twitter, and they love to forget about Lindsay on Twitter.
And Lindsay had some great stuff. Ooh. Oof.
Oh. If you forgot, Google Lindsay Lohan, Emma Stone tweets.
Oh, Troy, please. One of those tweets was like my Facebook banner for years.
She's like, "Dear Emma Stone, please stop taking my roles. Hollywood has replaced me with Emma Stone." Which, like, is true.
So true.
Like, every Emma Stone movie feels like a Lindsay Lohan movie for a very long time. You think about it?
No, it was truly like, we need another redhead. And this will be our like sort of precocious redhead. And this one, she's a little more down to earth. She's not going to go the same way. And you know what? It was true. It was true.
Yeah. It was her death becomes her moment. Like, Lindsay was in her bedroom, like, rewinding Emma's death scenes over and over and over and over. Should we finish out with Rolling Stone?
Yes.
So this Rolling Stone that we're gonna be quoting is from August of 2004, and we are going back in time. This is Lindsay has just turned 18. She is the talk of the town. She is like the bad girl, redhead ingenue that has the world at her fingertips. She's made Disney like a few $1 million at this point. She's their biggest bankable star. But they are starting to worry.
Yeah.
At this particular moment. Because I think this is right before Herbie, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So they're like, she's getting a little out of control.
Oh no. What? Who's this boyfriend of hers?
Yeah. And they mentioned that like they've had to have some talks with her about like her partying image and how it's like sort of starting to maybe snowball a little bit more than they wanted it to.
Or also, we go right off the bat. She's talking about like people talking about her in tabloids and stuff. And it says a quote, "My little sister reads that stuff," Lohan says. "She called me up one day and was like, I heard you got that Pamela Anderson thing," meaning boob job. "I heard you got that Pamela Anderson thing." And Lindsay says, "It's just so Lohan stops and glances at her assistant. They smile at each in an inside joke sort of way. "Stupid," Lohan continues. "And when I look puzzled, she says, I have to watch myself. I guess I say the R word, but not as she says it." She just fully says it again. "I guess I say the R word a lot, and this group got mad at me."
This group. This group got mad at me.
This group got mad.
And also, right before that, just to kind of like continue the conversation that we were having earlier about how now that it's literally as soon as she turned 18, the whole world was like, big-titted Lindsay Lohan. She's big-titted, she's big-butted, and she's really, really hot, and she's a whore and not a virgin. She's the opposite of Hilary Duff. She's not sweet. She's a nasty little whore. The fucking writer of this article literally says, "Lindsay Lohan has been 18 for just under a week when she tells me her breasts are real. I didn't ask. Gentlemen never do." Like, that's the first line of this article.
Well, and going back to your point was to me off mic of each of these articles being a trope, like the Vanity Fair one is very much like classic, warts and all celebrity profile, like a true Hollywood classic celebrity profile. And then this Rolling Stone article is classic early 2000s. She's 18, you guys. Like, look, a man writing about an 18-year-old girl and like his, leering, lecherous perspective.
Mm-hmm. And like knowing that we're hungry for it. The media is hungry for it. We want to start sexualizing her because we can now. They even say, they say, there comes a time in the life of every teenage girl who works for the Disney Corporation when that girl realizes that she has suddenly, how shall we phrase this, broadened her appeal. For Annette Funicello, back in the original Mickey Mouse Club, that point came when boys began to notice the tightness of her regulation Mickey Mouse sweater. In more recent years, fallen Musketeers Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera recognized that music videos involving school uniforms and or nude body stockings would exponentially increase their fatherly, big brotherly, and creepy uncle-y tolerance for music that's pretty much unlistenable if you're not a 13-year-old girl. So they're basically saying we have no real interest in these girls until they bloom and get big tits, and then they start to appeal to us creepy men. Like, what?
It's so wild that these publications wouldn't be like, you know what, let's get a girl on the case to interview and like, just, okay, if men are not interested in anything about these actresses or singers, and it's like, okay, well then why are they writing the profile? But it is just like, well, I don't know, like middle-aged men wanting an excuse to see them in the flesh and talk about their body. And it's like, it feels, especially something like Rolling Stone, it's like giving men the keys to the castle. Like, yeah, go get that profile. You get to hang out with this hot young thing, and then you also get to eviscerate her later and like feel very self-satisfied about it.
And like punish her the minute she doesn't, appeal to like the Lolita, sex fantasy. And at this point, it's interesting where Lindsay kind of falls, because at this point we have had like that first round of the new generation Mickey Mouse Club girls that have become quite sexualized. So it's more so just like, well, it's Lindsay's turn. Like she was written about, like it's only a matter of time before she starts like showing more of her body, and like she's so developed and her boobs are so big that she pretty much has no option. She's gonna start slutting out soon.
And yeah, that's something that we see in every single one of these articles about the girls at the time. And then also there's, as you like to talk about, the lore of a star. There's a lot of lore and world building in this one, just as so there is for all of these types of articles.
Yeah.
But Lindsay's lore is so, it's like she's a hot little fuckstick, and like her dad is a bad guy, and her mom a rockette.
Now, you said that. I could hear you questioning it in your voice. I don't like that. She was a rockette. It's not a lie, okay?
but no, listen. I actually, did you notice this though, Troy? It was always Dina was a rockette. Dina was a rockette. But in the Vanity Fair article, did you catch Nancy? And I trust Nancy because that is a woman who did her due diligence. She says that Lindsay's mother was a rockette understudy.
The plot thickens.
So, it's a fluffing up of what her real story was. Oh, her mom, it's easier to say her mom was a rockette, not a rockette understudy.
If you guys don't know, Dina Lohan has her own lore, and Dina basically did her own press tour throughout the phases of Lindsay's career. And her big thing was that she would tell people, I was a New York City rockette and a child actress, and I gave up my dreams of being an actress to like help my children achieve their dreams. And like all of her credits are like people can't find them. There's no proof in any book that she was ever a rockette. And like she says that she did all this acting, but there's like no proof of her acting. So she basically made up her own like old Hollywood story. Yeah.
Well, but it is so, I think I said it earlier, like, I think Dina is the blueprint for the momager, the way we like with that word, the momager.
Hell
And
yeah.
the mother of a child star. Like, yes, now when we think of momager, we think of Kris Kardashian, and she is such a like competent business person.
Mm-hmm.
But Dina was more of like the child star momager that doesn't know what the hell they're doing and like screwing things up for their kid.
Yeah.
And like, you know, unlike Britney's parents were not people who had some background of like, oh, we like Lynn Spears didn't want to be an actress.
Mm-hmm.
And if she did, we never heard about it. But Dina was so out there as like, you know, I'm a performer in my own right. Like that is classically the child star trope of the parent who wanted to get into it. It didn't work out. And now they put it all into their kid.
Yeah. Yeah. She really was like the OG momager. You're so right. She really was. And we all knew Dina. Like, I mean, the shorthand of it all, with all of us just knowing her by her first name, we all knew Dina as much as we knew Lindsay.
Yeah. And I think in the Vanity Fair article, it says that Dina was taking 15% from Lindsay.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys, 10% is industry standard for a manager. Mm-hmm. This woman is just out there pocketing 15.
And using it for tape ends.
Yeah. Using it for tape ends and blow.
I really like this little section where they're like kind of setting up her. This is why I said she was doomed from the start, because Lindsay's, the lore and the world building is centered around this idea that she's like a bad girl that's at this moment being held back by her Disney restraints. And not only is Disney worried, but her handlers are worried. And it's only a matter of time before she breaks it and goes full bad girl. That, and like now that she's 18, we're all kind of waiting. So it says, despite the fake breast rumors, something about Lindsay Lohan seems far more real than her contemporaries. Mean Girls is often compared to Heathers, Winona Ryder's breakout film, and like Ryder, Lohan manages to look striking without coming off as an empty vessel. In real life, she has been willing to talk shit about rival teen star Hilary Duff and didn't hide the fact that she liked to party, all of which resulted in Lohan becoming a favorite object of scrutiny for the paparazzi and the online perverted community alike. These days, if Lindsay Lohan wears a low-cut dress and makes the mistake of, say, bending over slightly to step out of a vehicle, enlarged photographs of her cleavage will be analyzed as meticulously as the Zapruder film. To continue the Ryder comparison, Lohan is also what technically is known as a bad girl. She has already dated a rock star. Well, not exactly rock. It was Aaron Carter. But what really makes Lohan bad is the fact that she goes out to nightclubs in Manhattan and Los Angeles and occasionally dances on tables. All of this has helped her new adult image, but could hurt her old Disney remake princess image, which has her handlers worried. When I suggest to Lindsay's publicist that we go out to see a band together, the publicist snaps, "She's 18. I don't want her anymore." I don't want any more stories of her to come out in clubs. My next suggestion, an exhibit at the cadavers at the California Science Center, is greeted with an audible sigh. Lindsay's like, "I want to go drinking." But you see, they're setting her up. Like they're writing about her future before it even happens.
Of all places to get an interview from someone, a concert, that seems like pretty counterintuitive.
Yeah, it doesn't even make any sense.
It's like, no, what you really wanted was to be like, let's go to a bar or a club, but you know that it has to be under the guise of something. Yeah, it's a band. It's a band.
Yeah, and then I will report her behavior there.
And then to be like, okay, fine, we'll go to the museum. It's like, fuck you. Like those, like you're being a little like prick. Find the museum then.
The museum or a club?
Come
or
on.
An interview? Come on. Like that is absurd. And I hate that we weren't smart enough to read between the lines back in the day, because like that should have been, the person doing this interview should have been ridiculed. Like why do you want to take an 18-year-old to the club?
Yeah, exactly, weirdo.
One other thing that they mention in this article that I think is damn near impossible not to talk about is the fact that she is now publicly dating Wilmer. It's like out
Mm.
there. And
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like that had such a big impact on the way that we perceived her. It says Lohan recently went public with the news that she's dating that 70s show star Wilmer Valderrama. Coincidentally, the pair became less secretive about their relationship after her 18th birthday. Valderrama is 24. We've been really, really good friends, Lohan says. I love him to death. He's a great guy. He's been there with me through all of this family shit that I have going on. We'll see what happens. If this matures into a serious relationship, he'll be my first real boyfriend. But I don't know. I'm only 18 and I want to have fun. Lohan says the hardest part about dating another celebrity is not the increased media scrutiny of their outings, but the increased other chick scrutiny of her dude. It's hard when we go out, she complains. They'll seriously hit on him right in front of me. I'm already insecure, and there are a lot of really pretty girls in LA, and it makes me feel really bad. That's like the saddest thing to hear a fucking 18-year-old girl say. Like, so many red flags.
Well, and the Wilmer of it all is also brought up in Nancy Jo's article. It was her breakthrough year, 2004, that Lindsay moved to LA on her own to live with her boyfriend and first love, Wilmer Valderrama. They met when she was doing a guest appearance on his TV show. They didn't make their romance public until her 18th birthday. Valderrama said because it was, quote, a lot more meaningful that way. And when they broke up a year later, Lindsay blamed her own neediness and immaturity. Valderrama would later discuss Lindsay in graphic detail on the Howard Stern show, saying, quote, her breasts were real and she's a big fan of waxing.
Can you imagine the impact that this relationship had on her? Like, it set her down such a toxic path with men for the rest of her life. And it's not to say like that Wilmer is such a powerful figure that he's like the reason for all of her bad relationships, but it just started her off publicly too on this like really dark path.
Do you think she's ever listened to 1729?
Yeah, I do.
I wonder how I wonder if she has ever looked back on that relationship with a more mature set of eyes, because she never spoke badly about Wilmer, but I do wonder if now she looks back and she's like, that was inappropriate. My parents shouldn't have been allowing me to just like go fuck off to LA by myself and move in with my boyfriend.
I know. I do go back and forth where I wonder if she like looks back at it, especially now that she's like a parent, like what the hell was I doing? Or what was my mom doing? I'm sure she does. But there's also the aspect of Lindsay where it's like, she's been so abused by so many men and sort of like tossed around and just kind of used that I wonder if it's all just like a big blur of like men, like, you know?
Absolutely. And I also feel like there's maybe a bit of a clue that things haven't really changed for her as far as like how she views men and her relationships to men is in the Bustle article. They're talking about her husband, and it says, what does Shamas, who works in finance and whom she met at a restaurant in Dubai, think of Lohan's world? Quote, he will support me because I'm in it. You know what I mean? She says she likes to include him in her work because, quote, he's very intuitive and has a very good understanding of how things are going to work out in the end. He can kind of foresee things. So I like getting his advice on everything and having him be a part of it. I just feel safer. And I'm like, oh. Is that really, is it really like he's very intuitive and he just like foresees everything? Like it sounds like he has to be on set. Yeah. He has to have every choice go through him. He was a producer on this movie that they're talking about.
Yeah. And what is his career?
Oh, it just says finance.
Dara.
You know who else worked in finance? Her father.
We are tampering in some dark-sided stuff. That's all I can say.
Okay.
It scares me. Like, it scares me. And I just feel like in a nutshell, and this is just my opinion, and you know, I feel like in a nutshell, Lindsay did some dark-sided work in Dubai for many years when she was no longer insurable here as an actor. She made as much money, if not maybe more, doing that in Dubai. And she secured her bag. And then she got a man. She secured that bag, got a baby, secured that bag, and is now able to profit off of the fruits of her labor in Dubai. Like, you know, it's like she went there and did a side hustle and like stacked up her bands.
And you know what? I love that. Love that for her. I do wonder, now that she has all of those things and sort of has to like live with it, I'm just like hoping that it's not exactly what I would imagine it could possibly be like.
I know. It scares me.
I mean, she just simply does not have a good track record with men. So to imagine that like it's anything different. I mean, listen, she's someone who has made excuses for men for her entire life.
Oh, it's giving like Wendy Williams and Kevin Hunter Williams. Like, he's my manager and makes all my decisions and is always on set and always watching over me and always, you know, it's just like, ugh. I also sometimes wonder if Lindsay looks at men the way that I perceived Anna Nicole to look at men, where it's like they're just like ATM machines and like men equal like business transaction, whereas I really fall in love with women. Like, I lust for women, but I need men.
I sort of, I kind of don't really buy that in any way at this point in her life that she would be seeking out the women. I don't know. In the grand scheme, I think she would never want to be truly out. Like, even when she was with Samantha, it was like, but I'm straight. Like, somehow making that excuse. So I kind of feel like she would very easily like shut that part of herself off and is just like, no, I just love men. And she just ends up with these guys who are sort of similar to her dad, who do provide money, which was, I think, what her dad was providing for the family for her younger years. Like, they were living in a really rich area of Long Island. And then all of a sudden he goes to jail and it's like, oh yeah, all of that money was like a sham. So yeah, I do feel like maybe she does look at them as ATM machines, but she's not getting her needs met elsewhere, is what I imagine.
Yeah, because to your point, like, even with her not wanting to like fully admit, you know, the Samantha stuff, like, it's always been such a joke to me that people think she's only had one female relationship in her life and it was just Samantha. And like, you know, she could have at any point been like, oh, I've dated a million women at this point. And I also look back at those times and I'm like, as much as I now believe that when rappers have beef with each other, it's lovers' quarrels. Like, I think that they're all just fucking and in relationships and dating each other and they're fighting because they've like literally had intimate moments. I think the same thing with the girls. Like, you know, I think Paris and Brittany were fucking, and I believe that Paris and Lindsay at a time were fucking, and I believe that it was like a lover's quarrel. Like, I don't think their feud was like just jealousy. It was like, no, we've made love. And I also think that they both had their eyes on Brittany in a sexual way, but Paris got her, which then forced Lindsay to kind of back off and be like, I don't even care about her. I don't care what happens with Britney Spears. I don't follow her.
Exactly. No, I think there was a whole like L word happening in in Hollywood, and it wasn't just like our starlets. It was like a sort of multi-generational. It was the starlets and then the behind the scenes power lesbians. They were, you know, going, because who was it? Like Amanda Demi, who she ran the door at Teddy's and the Tropicana back at its height. And I think she was kind of like a power lesbian of the circuit. And there's pictures of her, you know, just like hanging out with Lindsay, other pictures of her just hanging out with Paris. I feel like there was a bit of a jealousy there. It's like, it's boys, but it's also these elder power lesbians sort of passing them around.
There's also Ingrid. Do you remember Ingrid?
Uh,
She was she was Madonna's ex-girlfriend. She was like known for dating Madonna in the 90s. And then in the early 2000s, she started dating Paris. Like there's a lot of pictures of her in Paris, like vacationing together and like making out in pools and stuff. And then I believe she also hooked up with Lindsay. She's a power lesbian. Ingrid Caesars. Do you remember? She had like short black hair, super tan. She's very pretty.
Yeah, and then so there was her, and then also I think it was Jodie Foster's wife, who was also sort of like going around making the rounds before they got married. Or I think it was even like after they got married, they like split up and then got back together. But it was, Yeah.
Yes. And Courtney Semmel.
Oh, Courtney Semmel, of course. I mean,
she was like the one. I feel like Courtney has turned out more women
than any lesbian. What did they say? The lesbian Casanova of Hollywood?
Yeah. Yes, the lesbian. That's so funny. The pussy posse that was like the real pussy posse.
The real. And then there's also, so it's like Courtney Semmel and then what's her face? The heiress, the Casey Johnson.
Casey
Johnson, who was also, friends with Paris.
Mm-hmm.
Like this was a circuitry of young lesbians.
Yes, and also Fergie.
I mean, Fergie.
Come on now. Fergie was pegging all the gals. For sure. For sure. Oh my God. When you look at those pictures of 90s Fergie with Paris, it's like, okay, so you are teaching her how to climax. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, for sure her. And and then you have like the girls that are just there for a good time, like Tara Reid, who's like, I'm down for whatever,
Yes. Well, you know who else I think was very involved in that scene was the Pretty Wild girls, Alexis and Tess.
Yeah.
And the reason why I think that is, number one, they both have like such a little like gay vibe. Like it was very clear to me that they were sort of hooking up with each other. But I did recently look at Tess's Instagram, and she like follows everyone from the L Word. And I was like,
Sort of in the way that I follow everybody from Queer as Folk. You know who else I always squint my eyes at is Amanda DeCadnett.
Oh, 100%.
I call her the friend of everyone. I think of all the people living right now who could write a scathing Hollywood tell-all, it's Amanda DeCadnett. I mean, the fact that woman has not been offered a housewives role or something, she is the most connected, beloved, best friend to everyone. She was the last person Michelle Trachtenberg spoke to before she died. I'm like, she pops up everywhere.
Yeah, when I saw that, I was like, even Michelle?
Even Michelle, like that woman, you guys look up Amanda DeCadnett, and she used to have a really cool show where she would interview her celebrity friends, and she's like best friends with Demi, and she's really good friends with Rose McGowan, and she is just so loved by everybody. Like, I want to know all the things. She knows everything.
Oh, she knows where all the bodies are buried.
Yeah.
Wow, I could go on about like the lesbians of Hollywood all day.
I know, me too. I love it so much. Somebody the other day I was looking at, I was like on Twitter, and somebody posted this picture of Alicia Keys. And like, I've always known that Alicia Keys is a butch bulldog lesbian. Like, it's pretty obvious to me that woman is as Oprah would say, lesbian. And they posted this picture of her, and she was like wearing one of her like fedoras with like a do-rag underneath. She was wearing a tank top. She looked like a character from Orange is the New Black, like a parody of a lesbian. It was so cliche. And somebody captioned it, and they were like, that woman has been fucking everybody for years. Like, she has been pegging everybody for as long as she's been around.
Wow. I mean, yeah, I buy it. I buy it.
Yeah. Well, now that we have spoken for nearly 2 hours about Lindsay Lohan and the Hollywood lesbian pipeline, is there anything else that you want to add about the last article about Lindsay in general?
No, I mean, no.
Yeah, we pretty much did it all. This was really fun though, and
it was such a great time. And just to say, we didn't mention it up top, but the Bustle article was written by Samantha Leach, and the Rolling Stone article was written by Mark Benelli, and of course, Vanity Fair by Nancy Jo Sales.
And like, I know, so last week we mentioned the Lindsay Lohan Cosmo Girl article. So we're going to cover that on Patreon. It's Lindsay Lohan week.
It's Lindsay Lohan week. And then we'll also, more Lindsay over there.
Yeah. What was the other one that we were going to do? W?
Oh, and W, her with Meryl Streep.
Oh, Prairie Home Companion.
Home Companion.
Yes. Okay, cool. Well, this was awesome. Also, we are going to maybe like once a month thinking about doing a poll on Patreon and letting you guys vote for our themed episode for the month. So if that's something you'd be into, maybe comment like ideas for different themes that you'd like to see, and then we can wrestle them up and put a poll on it and let you vote.
Oh, doesn't that sound fun?
Doesn't y'all reckon?
All right. Well, we love you. You're swell. Thanks for listening.
We love you so much. Stay cute.